Hi, my name is Miss Laura, and welcome to another video of Sadie Studios, where creativity becomes life. Today, I am actually going to be doing something completely different from the past two videos. What we're going to be doing today is that I'm going to be showing you how to use our 3D pens. 3D pens, compared to our 3D printer, is that with the 3D pens, you can draw three-dimensional objects, whereas our 3D printer, it does the work for you. So I'm going to show you how to put it together, what we use, and then I will do a little bit of a step-by-step on how to use it, how to set it up, what temperature to use, and then physically draw you a little object that you'll be able to see on a step-by-step basis. So if you purchase yourself a 3D pen, you get a little bit of the basics. You get your pen right here, which kind of fits in your hand as the size of a giant pencil. You get a little bit of the filament that I have on the table. You get a scraper that'll help you get your object off of the table surface that you're using. And then you get your battery pack or your plug-in that will be able to plug into the 3D printer. So I'm going to start connecting everything now. Basically, your cable goes right into the top of your 3D pen. And what's good is that once you plug it in, right here in the middle, which is where your temperature lies, it should automatically start to heat up on itself. If it doesn't, you just have to hit the button here in the middle, and it'll take it out of sleep mode, and then you'll be able to start using your 3D pen. And it's going now. And you'll be able to notice instantly because your temperature will just quickly start from 0 all the way up to the temperature that you set on your 3D pen. And you could raise the temperature, you could drop the temperature. Sometimes, depending on how close you're working with your surface, you might need to tone down the temperature, because the hotter it is, the more that it'll melt. But sometimes you don't need that depending on the object that you're building. So you basically have to just play it by eye, just to see, and then you'll be able to adjust your pen accordingly. But when I usually work the 3D pen, I do a temperature about 205 degrees. You have to be really careful when you're using the pen. The bottom does get very hot, and you don't want your fingers going anywhere near the bottom of it in case you can get burned. And you don't want to get burned with the 3D pen, just like you don't ever want to get burned using the 3D printer. So I have everything all set up. I'm going to pick a color here at the table, and then I will show you how it gets connected, which is very simple. So let me just pick a color. Just pick the one to have right in front of me. And they come in little packages when you get your 3D pens. You just basically take it out, and then you can start immediately when your pen is ready to go. So this is also plastic filament. It's the same plastic filament that gets used for the 3D printer. So sometimes when we run out of one color for the 3D pens, I'll go grab some from the 3D printer, because you could use both of them. And it gets heated right here at the top. So you basically have your slide buttons on your pen. One has one facing down, which will allow you to load your filament into your pen. And then the other one, once you're done using your pen, will release it and it'll bring it back out. So I'm going to load this one right here. And as you can see, it goes quickly through as you just keep your thumb on the down button. Just takes it, and you'll start seeing it at the end. If you've used the pen on a different color before this, it'll take out what was left in the pen, and then it'll stop. The minute that you take your hand off the bottom button, it'll stop moving. because you don't, depending on what you're making, you don't want it to continuously go unless that's exactly what you need for your drawing. You could stop at any time, and you could, release and change colors whenever you want, which is good about the pen. You don't have to stick with one solid color if you want to do multiple ones in your design. So when you're all ready to go, you basically hold your 3D pen like a pencil, and you keep your thumb on the bottom button, and then as you just press down, the filament will come out, and you got to draw directly onto your surface, and then it'll just, however you're making your design. Usually if someone's drawing for the first time, I tell them to make a box. And then as you make a box, you could just still continue to just go over it, and that'll help you build your object up, just like this. Also, if you're using a pen for the first time, it takes a little bit to get the hang of. It's not hard, but sometimes you'll have an idea on what you want to make, but it won't exactly come out the way that you want it. But the more that you practice with the 3D pen, and the more you get the hang of it, it'll just, whatever you're thinking on how to draw it, it'll come to you, and then it'll basically build up and create the way that you want it. You could do many other things other than the box. You could draw a heart, which is what I like doing a lot. And then just start right over. And then you could fill in, you could go over to begin with, or you could fill in your object as well. And what's also really cool about the 3D pen is that just like the 3D printer, when the filament is coming out and the object is getting printed, it melts, and then as it's being drawn, it instantly cools. So by the time that you're done with your actual object, it'll be completely cooled off, and you can take it right off of the surface. One of the major things that you have to be careful about is that you have to make sure before you even begin printing that you need to work on not directly on a table. That's why I have cardboard down. One, it's easier to lift your objects, but another is you don't want to ruin your table at home, because by directly putting it on the table, you're basically putting melted plastic, and it could ruin the table, and I'm sure your parents would not be happy about it. So always use, if you have cardboard at home, use cardboard. That's great. If you have something like it, or just a protective piece to put over the table, you could use that as well. So I made a little bit of makeshift of a pair of glasses, which you could use, because all you would have to do is just make two squares and then connect them together. And then the only other thing that you would have to do is just draw your pieces to finish your glasses off. But I've had kids make me Harry Potter glasses with the 3D pen that I still have. They've made so many different things that they could think of. One of them could never figure out what she wanted to draw, so all she drew was chairs, which was Pretty funny. But you could really use your creativity when you're drawing with the pen, because you could practically just make anything that you think of as long as you put your mind to it. And then when you're completely done, so I'll fill in the heart all the way. You could fill in your glasses too, however you make your design. You'd use your scraper, and then you basically just go right underneath. Or you could just grab it yourself, however you want to do that too. Scraper's there to help you as a tool. And then they come off just like that. Or get the heart off too. And then you got your heart just like that too. So there you go. That is basically everything there is to use the 3D pen. Like I was mentioning before, just when you're using it for the first time, practice makes perfect. It's not going to come out the way that you wanted to, or the way that you thought that it was going to come to. You just gotta get the hang of holding the pen and using it the way that it just needs to get used. And then you could create, any object you could think of eventually, and you could do them in separate pieces too, and then all you could use the 3D pen as a gluing base, because it's still, when it melts, it's melted plastic, so you just go over the edges, and then you could connect your pieces, so then that would build up your object as a three-dimensional thing too, because that's a lot of what you use the 3D pen for, is that you start off as just your basic, but then you could build up the sides. You can make a huge cube, and then it would be all three-dimensional, or whatever your object you're thinking of. I've seen somebody even attempt doing the Eiffel Tower in France, and they were able to start at the bottom base and then work their way up to the top, so that it became one big three-dimensional object. But it's really cool to use. I use it all the time when hopefully when we go back to doing in programs, we'll be able to go back to using the 3D pen here. I usually get a huge turnout with the kids, even with the younger kids, because I usually make it for all ages, so that anyone can try using the pens. I've even done it with adults so that they can make their own and see how it gets run here as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Look forward to another Sadie Studios program where we'll do something different. I might do another craft. I might go back and do another one with the printer. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye!